Hi, friend. Welcome. This is a Thursday stream that I'm doing, and it's a new moon. And I wanted to talk today in a slightly different format, and I just wanted to kind of discuss some themes that I think are present for many of us right now as we go through the new moon. And this is not going to be the astrology per se, and I'm not going to go too much into the astrology details, but I want to go into the theme of the Scorpio. So let me know how you're feeling. I think overall right now is quite an emotional time, and we could connect to some really deep emotions that we experience. Possibly the emotions that we have been hiding from, and then they become really kind of into our face. And that's what I want to talk today. I think overall we take a lot of time to work on a mindset and, to power through the emotions, to create a vision, to go after the vision. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I work on mindset as well. And there is a great value in it. And I think Scorpio and other water signs are really teaching us the importance of emotional intelligence. And because I don't think we are very intelligent overall, globally, I think it's something that we need to speak more of. And by no means I'm a guru who has it all together all the time, but I'm speaking from experience. I speak from experience of also working with people and helping people to move emotions through. And I have my own tools, and I have my own perspective, and this is what I am here to share with you. So I think usually when we get into this sort of an intense emotion state, which I think, like I said, today as a new moon and yesterday as a dark moon, or tomorrow maybe still, we have been feeling a lot. And actually the entire Scorpio season, which started around the 20th of October, and it's going to last until the 20th or 21st of November. Scorpio, what do we know about Scorpios, right? Those kind of standard things that we know, that they are intense, that they could be secretive, that they could be manipulative, they're very strong, and they're very powerful. And those are different aspects of Scorpio energy. And I think one word that could describe it really well is that Scorpio connects us to our desires. And desires are really, really important in our life. And suppressed desires come out as negative emotions. So for that reason, hi Julie, we're talking about emotions today and a Scorpio new moon. And so with that, with this kind of a Scorpio pulling out the desires out of ourselves and showing to us where we may be suppressing our desires through by showing us our suppressed emotions that sometimes kind of come out in this unexpected way or in an unpleasant way. To begin with, we at least need to pause and to understand that this negative emotion is not just something to neglect. This negative emotion is not something to be critical of, and not necessarily something to power through and being like, okay, this is an emotion that's, that's not my, whatever, not coming from my highest self, so I'm not gonna put my energy into it. I'm not gonna put my attention to it, because what I put my attention to grows, and I don't want this emotion to grow, so I'm not gonna look at it, right? That could be kind of a shadowy side of the mindset work, where we're disconnecting. But the only reason why the emotion is something that we're experiencing, especially if it's a negative emotion, and if it's a recurring negative emotion, then it's telling us about our unfulfilled desires. And it's good to go into and discovering what the desire is, so that we can, take the wisdom. So hi Bianca, hi Tracy. We're talking about emotions today, and happy new moon. So, and intense emotions. So let me know, by the way, how you feel right now, because I definitely feel a lot of, stiffness in my belly, and all of that, kind of a lot of insecurities and things that are coming up with this Scorpio new moon. And just a few more words about the Scorpio. Another word that would describe it would be occult, right? The occult studies are Scorpio energy, and occult means something that's under the surface, something that's not visible. So that's why we work a lot with emotions, we work a lot with energy when we talk about Scorpio and desires, right? It's not something that's physical, like some earth signs could be. And so when we get into this negative emotional state, we usually take two routes. We either go into a self-sabotaging behavior, where we start, being whiny or negative about a person or somebody who did this to us, right? Or somebody who didn't fulfill our expectations, and we feel hurt, or we feel this and that. Like, we all know that, right? We're all people. And I call it a self-sabotaging behavior because it's distracting us from the truth. And other self-sabotaging behaviors would be, okay, let me suppress this emotion by eating, right? Or by smoking, or by whatever. So all of those self-sabotaging behaviors, they are taking us away from truth, and they are not letting us they're closing us to the possibility to see the wisdom of what behind this emotion. So another route we can take, like I already mentioned, is, we are powering through. We're like, okay, don't focus on this, don't make it grow more, don't give it your energy, etc., right? And so we kind of switch to the other side, and we focus only on the positive, focus on the positive. And neither one of those approaches, in my opinion, is self-sustainable. Because with the first one, I already said, right, if we're closing the door to the truth and what the desire behind it, that we can actually change our behavior, etc. With the second, if we power through the emotion, and that is a recurring emotion, that is something that we've been feeling for, say, years, right, with different people and different circumstances, but it's something that like really triggers us. We basically, we already have the emotion within us. It's something that hasn't traveled through us for many years, and it's been stuck in us. And so when we're powering through it, we just suppress more and more the energy that's behind the emotion, the desire that's trying to come through, and the desire that is still being suppressed. And so eventually, and that's why we come back to the same sort of circumstances where we attract people that keep triggering us and keep pressing on that button where we feel really, we feel that negative emotion. So the first step I feel that is really important to take is that we have to take responsibility for how we feel. We have to take the responsibility that yes, the person, like you know, we can justify a lot of things saying like this person is not doing what they're supposed to do, but who even says what they're supposed to, right? It's your expectation. But for some reason, that person isn't your reality. So take responsibility, and that's where we stepping out of the kind of like I'm one little being in this huge universe, I mean nothing, to the creator mode. And so we all want to be creators, right? We are like, power to you, you can dream what you can create what you dream, but then we don't want to take responsibility for being a creator when we create things that are that are challenging. And here I don't mean we have to go into criticizing ourselves or beating ourselves up or hating ourselves for creating a particular experience. It's more about just taking responsibility and understanding that, okay, well, if I've created it, that means it's in my power to change it. Just to begin with, like stopping the too much of talking about the people, or too much talking about this negative circumstance, and go inward. What is it trying to tell me? And so that's the first step. And there are situations that affect us, and they could be done by different people, but if we have a trigger within us, if we have what I call a hook, then something can be placed on that hook. So, and that's a good kind of a analogy, because for some people some behavior may be like nothing, and for other people that behavior could be really triggering, and that just shows that it's within you. So we can be going around and saying, oh, my partner is supposed to be doing this and they're not doing that, but it's like, wait, okay, stop here, take responsibility, and then let's go further. Why am I creating this kind of environment? What in this is hurting me? For example, we expect something of our partner, we expect something of our parent. What is it that's hurting me here? What kind of behavior? And what are our expectations to begin with? And that is a really good question, because when we go deeper into the expectation, we can see and we can kind of turn it around to ourselves and see, oh, are you giving yourself that you're expecting from others? So for example, you are, you're hurt because they don't respect your boundary, they like vomit on you, right? And you're like, wait, but am I respecting my boundaries? Am I drawing the line when it's necessary and saying, oh, okay, like I'm gonna step out over here and I'll come back when you're ready, when you're in a different mood or something, right? So it's it's a process. Thank you, Julie. It's a process. It's oftentimes when we talk about this kind of very heavy emotions that sit in us for a long time, it's not something that we can just like elevate from and being like this person who just says, okay, I'm just with no emotion whatsoever to leave the conversation and come back. But we get a little messy in this situation, but that's okay in a way. And it's a process but it's important to withdraw yourself from this situation, to see, okay, what is it in me that's hurting? What is it in me that's hurting? What sort of desire they are not fulfilling? And what, if I am the responsible one here, what is the desire that I have to fulfill for myself? So for example, when we have, a lot of times we have the situation with parents where we feel not understood, or we feel not supported in whatever actions we're taking. But the only reason why we're craving that from them So again, look at this, from a perspective of, okay, what's hurting? Okay, I'm not feeling supported. Okay, am I giving that support to myself? Am I giving that support to myself? And it doesn't mean that we have to kind of live in a world of individuals and, completely disregard the community, but there is responsibility that you have to take for your own life, and then you can then be a caretaker of others. But if you're not fulfilled, if your cup is half empty and you're trying to give out of that cup, then it's getting empty and emptier. So a lot of this kind of negative emotions that we work through, we oftentimes go down to lack of self-love. Lack of self-love and lack of self-value. In my experience, at least, with the people that I work with, and maybe I attract people like this, obviously, because I have a personal experience like this and something that I've been working through. But it is such a major thing, lack of self-love, and that goes beyond giving yourself a massage or taking yourself for dinner. It's more, it's believing in yourself. It's validating yourself. It's valuing yourself. And how we have kind of a number of aspects within, and that's where usually those conflicts that are happening, they're kind of internal conflicts between different aspects of our being. They're not aspects of the greater soul, but they're aspects of the personality, right? There are different kind of personalities, and one aspect sometimes may feel very traumatized, and it needs validation and it needs love. And if we just say, oh no, power through this emotion, no, this emotion is not valid, no, just you know what's the right thing to do, and then if you don't give attention to that being in you that's hurting, to be like the mother of it, to pick it up, to be like, I love you, let's go through this, you can do it. And then we kind of go in the external world and we'll look for people to support us in this way. And so this is kind of the step that is really important, to turn it around on yourself and see, what am I not giving myself that I'm expecting from others? And then there's a little bit of this kind of an experiential point. I believe it's really important to not work with, kind of a top-down approach where you go from the mind and you being so analytical, kind of like what I did just now. Oftentimes when we are in the midst of this emotion, we are unable to feel, or when able to ground ourselves and see clearly things, especially if kind of if we haven't grown the muscle, of this zooming out experience, where we can kind of see from outside of this two people or how many people dynamic. When we grow the muscle, it's a little bit easier to slow yourself down, but still there's always something you find, you're like, oh whoa, I didn't see you, like a blind spot. So for that reason, it's really important to work with our energy and with our body. And our body is a great intelligence. I always say that, and I really feel that we need to cultivate more, and so I'll continue talking about that. We have to cultivate a better relationship with our body. And so some hints that you can gain through communication to the body, and how can you do that? So first of all, when you're in this state of the emotion, right? And that's not something during the time when you're in a conversation and you're quickly trying to decide how to answer. It's more about you being by yourself or already in a safe environment, and you kind of feel like okay, I'm safe right now. Let me dive into this. Let me see what I am, what I'm experiencing in my body, right? Or you kind of return yourself to the memory, even if it was like a day ago, you return yourself to the memory so that you can process the emotion if you couldn't process it in the right time. And with that, you ask yourself, where am I feeling this emotion? Where in my body is it? Is it in my stomach? Is it in my throat? Is it in my chest? And with time of you practicing this, you will grow the awareness of your body, and it will be easier for you to spot it. But it's a really important thing to do, and I'll explain in a moment why. The next question you ask, so where am I feeling it in the body? What sort of emotion is associated with that? And emotion is, something that is like, I feel sad, or I feel guilty, I feel shame, I feel stuck. So it's not an assumption, right? It's not something like, I feel they betrayed me. That's not an emotion. That's not a feeling. That's an assumption. And the third question that we ask is, so what are the sensations? What is the emotion? Are there any thought forms that are associated? Sometimes when we really get deeper into that sensation, we start thinking, oh, we get a thought, I'm not good enough. I can't do that. I'm not ready, or something like this. And then you're like, oh, okay, or like, I'm not understood. Right? And so you will see the link between your body, your emotion, and your mental state. You will see the link. And why it is important is that now, later on, when you will be coming back to similar situations, you will know that there is if, say, when you feel this way in your stomach, most likely it's because of this thought form, and most likely it means that you need to validate yourself more, you need to give yourself more love or whatever, right? So that your body is giving you hints in a moment where you're like, oh, I just closed right now. I closed my stomach, or I feel stuck in my throat. And I know that this means this and this and this, right? So it's this body awareness, body emotional or psychosomatic awareness that we're developing, that is connection between our mind, our body, and our emotional body, and of course our spirit. So those are the things that I feel that are really important to do when you are in this deep state and deep emotional state. And then what can help you is the body work. Like, you have to move. You have to move. It's not always going to be so easy to be like, oh, I got the wisdom from this emotion, oh, I'm gonna give myself the desire, and then I'm all healed and I'm not triggered by this person anymore, right? It's like, it's not gonna happen like this easy, because the emotion, like I said earlier, is stuck in the body. So we need to move it. Any kind of physical activity is going to help to kind of open up so the emotion starts moving. And it may not move out in just one time, especially if it's something that's been within you for a long time, but you have to continue moving. Another thing that's really important is your breath, and really allowing that place of your body that feels stuck, that feels stagnant, that feels heavy, that feels contracted, or whatever, that feels pain, whatever it is, breathe out through it and breathe in through it. So if your heart, then you kind of feel like it's, breathing out and through your heart. If it's your throat, then you do that. And then another point that is really helpful and to me is vital, is your voice and making sounds. And this is something that we're like, no, I'm so scared. I feel awkward, or I feel weird, or I feel this and that. And it's like, if you feel weird and awkward making sounds by yourself in a room, then then how can we talk about, setting boundaries? How can we talk about speaking up? How can we talk about expansion and growth and, creating prosperity in your life if you already feel awkward just even in such a safe environment? So I do understand that, because of course I felt the same way, but you have to. You really have to make all the weird sounds, at least to begin with this ha sound, just exhaling through your throat, starting to make sounds, starting to make noise, whatever it will be, roaring. And with this body movement, with this movement of your oxygen by doing your breath, and movement of this oxygen through your vocal cords, you will start feeling like the emotion is passing through. And you will start feeling some sort of, usually it would get more intensified because you finally started to water the earth. And now, the earth was so dry. Now you watered the earth with this movement, right, of all of those things that I said. And now finally it's kind of like, okay, the movement is happening. Now it's easy to come and get those things out. Actually, they kind of resurface. They surface themselves. And as they surface, it's important to be present and to just feel it. Not to try to get rid of it, not to try to be like, okay, 5 minutes, are you still here? Like, why are you still here? Aren't you supposed to be gone? It's also not something that like, whoa, I felt this emotion already. I've been working on it for a year. Why are you back? No, it's just about the presence. And so the more you allow yourself to feel that, the more you allow yourself to express it through your body, the more it will be moved. Now, this technique also works for, negative emotions that have been created, in a moment, and it will be easy to move something that is not too deep in ourselves. It's not something that's ancient and archaic and too painful, but something that just happened and you kind of like washed yourself off and now you clean again. But there are some situations and there are some deeper insecurities and wounds that we carry, from our childhood, from whatever our lifetimes, if you want to believe that. Those will be more difficult to wash off that quickly, but nevertheless, it's important to do that. So I hope this makes sense, this sort of like the, a step-by-step of how I, work through the intense emotions. And this is something that's really in effect right now. So let me know if this resonates, especially for this new moon or whenever you're watching this. And I really invite you to get more in tune with yourself, to be present with your emotional state and to find value in that. Because I truly believe that our abilities as humanity, thank you, Julie, our ability as humanity will increase much greater to the degree where we're going to quantum leap once we're going to connect with our emotions and once we're going to understand what they mean. Because oftentimes, and I didn't say that earlier, but the desires that we have, we usually feel some sort of negative connotation towards it. That's why Scorpio oftentimes is connected to, sex, money, power, and all of those things that are kind of a taboo in our life, because we have the desire but we don't know how to express it, and then it comes out in a very kind of a distorted way. And so it's important to own your desire, to process the shame, to process the guilt. A lot of women have this, kind of guilt for wanting more, or wanting to achieve everything in their life. And this is really important, that we allow ourselves to process that. Like, who said no to us that we shouldn't want it all? We shouldn't have an amazing family, an amazing career, successful career, and financial prosperity and other things, whatever you want, right? And that's probably a topic for the next time we speak. And I think I will speak more about this sort of taboos in separate videos. And I think next one is going to be about the sexual energy, because of my personal experience healing it, and because my personal experience working with it and discovering the power of the sexual energy. Hi, Yelena. The power of the sexual energy, the power of healing that it has, and also the expansion that it can create in our lives in different areas of our lives. But we're gonna leave it for the next time. For now, I'm gonna wish you happy new moon. Of course, you know, all the standard spiel. Set your intentions, you know, see where, I love you too. See where you can release. Right now, still on the dark moon is about the release, so that's why I'm talking about this emotion. See where you can take responsibility for your emotions, so that you you're actually able to open the door into the treasure that is there behind the emotion. And stay in touch. Let me know how it goes. With so much love, I'll see you next time.